So I wanted to do a video about climate change where I read a paper or just a small essay actually, that I wrote about Heidegger's notion of enframing, which is really what he thinks the essence of technology is. Enframing is the way that we view the world as this collection of objects that we can manipulate to get what we want. That is um, the basic foundation of technology. Before we can build a device, we have to view the world as though it were this this standing reserve of resources that we can build something out of to accomplish a goal. Um, and unfortunately, the video was uploaded. I deleted it from my hard drive, and then YouTube said it was too long, which I thought it was under 10 minutes, but I don't know what happened to it. So it's gone now, and I'll try to make it again, maybe tonight. But I was at Barnes & Noble reading a science magazine, and I read an article about how the sun may be more related to global warming than um, CO2. The scientist's name was Henrik Svensmark, and I'll post a link to some of his papers. He's from Denmark, and he's done studies that show that cosmic rays are responsible for creating the cloud cover around Earth, and that these cosmic rays come from outside of our solar system. And when the sun is especially active, shooting off electromagnetic radiation, it blocks those cosmic rays from reaching the Earth and the atmosphere of the Earth, thereby preventing clouds from forming, which would reflect the sunlight and keep the Earth cooler. And because the sun right now is going through an especially active phase, Svensmark said that it's probably the most active in at least 1,000 years, possibly 8,000 years, and that these natural cycles the Earth or the sun goes through are more responsible for the periods of glaciation and the ice ages experienced on Earth than the CO2 levels. But he didn't say that CO2 was not a problem. He doesn't deny that the increase of CO2 in our atmosphere is an issue, and that it does also contribute to this warming of the climate, or the warming of the climate in some areas, the cooling of it in others, just the real um, disequilibrium that's created in our the weather patterns and the ecological climates of Earth. It's expected by 2100 that the Amazon will no longer exist, and the Sahara will be an even bigger desert, and the whole globe's climate will be reworked. Some places will get hotter, some will get colder. It just depends. So it's not just global warming, but all he's really saying is that the sun also plays a role. We don't know if it's a bigger role than CO2 could ever play. We're not sure yet. It's just that we can't say that CO2 is the only contributing factor to global warming. Um, so I thought that was interesting. And he says that he gets really a lot of negative feedback from his peers in the scientific community, because it's a kind of scientific dogma, as he put it, that CO2 is the cause of global warming and that man is responsible for it. And Dr. Svensmark doesn't so much disagree with that. He just thinks that we also have to pay attention to the sun, and that this problem may be one that we just don't have control over, and it's just a natural cycle, an evolutionary catastrophe that really, it's an evolutionary bottleneck that spurs evolution and whatnot, that might be responsible for the diversity of life we find on Earth because of these cycles of climate change. And so the human race, civilization, may be in for a tough couple of decades and centuries, just because of the natural cycles of the sun, and there may be absolutely nothing we can do about it. So just food for thought. And I'm going to try to work on that video, the climate change video. Even though this new finding that the sun is responsible does tend to dampen this idea that human beings could actually be the cause of some problem, I still think pollution and the lack of understanding of how ecosystems work, the focus more on economics than ecology, is causing a lot of problems in the Earth. The Amazon rainforest is disappearing. 50 to 100 species are going extinct every day. Um, Darwin's hamster didn't like that statistic because to him it sounds like it's being pulled out of nowhere. But the science that I could find shows that that is a legitimate number. And I didn't collect the data myself, and so I can't really vouch for it. But it's based on the extinction rate in the fossil record, and these verifiable variables that they build these equations with to come up with this number. And um, there's no reason not to think that this kind of an extinction event is happening. It's happened before. It's happening again, and this time we are a contributing factor. That's how nature works. We're part of nature, and now nature is contributing to its own extinction event, and it just it's an evolutionary bottleneck again. It spurs mutation, which leads to varying types of life forms or whatnot. But so I think the essay I'm going to read is so applicable, even if CO2 isn't the main cause of global warming. It applies to other technologies and other means of manipulating the environment that don't exactly fit into the natural cycles and ecological balance that the Earth usually maintains.